Governor DeSantis just accidentally revealed the real reason Florida's housing market is collapsing, and it has nothing to do with what the media is telling you. In a closed-door meeting with industry leaders, leaked notes expose a system falling apart from the inside. Net migration crashed 75% from 314,000 people in 2022 to just 64,000 in 2024. Insurance companies fled the state. HOA fees jumped 17%. But the twist of it all is that DeSantis admitted Florida is facing a trust collapse, not a market correction. Hit subscribe because what he revealed about the next 18 months will shock you. It changes everything about Florida real estate. Florida's population boom didn't just slow down, it reversed completely. Net domestic migration to Florida dropped to just 64,000 in 2024, down more than 75% from the 314,000 peak in 2022. Between March 2020 and June 2022, home prices in Florida soared 51% compared to 41% nationally. Remote workers and retirees flooded in, driving demand through the roof. Then companies started calling people back to the office. The remote work revolution ended, and suddenly the influx stopped cold. Tampa's net migration plummeted 70%, dropping from 34,000 people in 2023 to just 10,224. Orlando went from gaining 16,000 people to essentially flat. Miami lost 101,000 domestic residents while gaining 553,000 international residents, creating completely different market dynamics. The people leaving are heading to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas, which now receive 48% of mortgage applications from Floridians escaping the state. According to leaked meeting notes, DeSantis told industry leaders that state economists are projecting Florida will lose an additional 100,000 to 150,000 domestic residents over the next 18 months if current trends continue. That's on top of the exodus that's already happened. One attendee reported DeSantis saying that if the insurance and HOA crisis aren't fixed in the next 12 months, Florida is looking at a decade-long recovery. Florida has the most expensive homeowners insurance in America, and it's not even close. The average cost sits at $2,625 per year, 24% more than the national average of $2,110. But that's the average. In high-risk coastal areas, premiums routinely exceed $10,000 to $12,000 annually. A typical Tampa homeowner now pays $11,759 per year for insurance, nearly $1,000 every single month before turning on the lights. After hurricanes Ian, Helen, and Milton caused over $13 billion in damages, dozens of insurance companies evacuated Florida entirely. Buyers are discovering that 3 or 4 companies have already rejected them because of roof age. The 4th company wants a complete roof replacement before considering coverage, another $25,000 out of pocket up front. No insurance means no mortgage. Deals die on the spot. Even cash buyers are walking away because nobody wants to risk everything in a state where one storm could wipe them out. But here's where the leaked governor's meeting reveals something remarkable. While everyone thinks the insurance crisis is getting worse, something is happening behind the scenes. Over 30 insurance carriers have quietly returned to the Florida market since 2023. Citizens Insurance, the state's insurer of last resort, has actually dropped from 1.4 million policies to under 1 million as private companies return. Some areas are even seeing rate decreases for the first time in years. Barrier Islands down 25%. Inland areas flat to 10% decreases. The leaked meeting notes show DeSantis acknowledged that Florida's 2023 insurance reforms have cut litigation that drove 79% of national lawsuits, despite Florida representing only 9% of claims. The structural problems are being solved while the public panics. DeSantis reportedly admitted to industry leaders that insurance reforms came too late, but they are working. The knowledge gap between what's actually happening and what retail buyers believe is creating a massive opportunity that sophisticated investors are already positioning for. Tampa HOA fees jumped 17.2% in just 1 year, now averaging over $614 per month. Orlando hit 16.7%, Fort Lauderdale 16.2%. but older condos face absolutely terrifying assessments. After the Surfside collapse, Florida passed Senate Bill 4D, requiring massive structural inspections and reserve funding by the end of 2024. Special assessments of $50,000, $80,000, even $100,000 per unit are due immediately. At Orlando's Regency Gardens condominiums, residents faced up to $22,000 in special assessments, while monthly fees nearly tripled overnight. One condo owner in Miami Beach saw monthly fees jump from $400 to $1,200 overnight, plus a $75,000 special assessment for structural repairs. This affects nearly 1 million condo owners across Florida. Community development district fees in new subdivisions add another $200 to $300 per month on top of everything else. The leaked notes reveal DeSantis admitted rapid growth wasn't managed properly, infrastructure couldn't keep up, and building standards weren't enforced strictly enough during the boom. Now, the state is paying the price. The hidden construction crisis makes this even worse. Homes built during the 2020 to 2022 frenzy are showing serious defects: cracked foundations, water intrusion, mold, improperly installed roofs. Florida shortened the window for construction defect lawsuits from 10 years to 7 years in 2023. The leaked meeting notes reveal why. So many claims came in from the building boom that the system was completely overwhelmed. DeSantis reportedly admitted to industry leaders that building standards weren't enforced strictly enough during the pandemic construction rush. Homes built in 2020 through 2022 now have just 5 to 6 years left for owners to discover and sue for major structural defects. In one Central Florida subdivision, homeowners discovered massive structural defects requiring complete remediation while people were still living there. The builder paid out $80,000 per homeowner in settlements rather than face trial. This is happening across the state quietly, while everyone focuses on prices and inventory. The leaked notes show DeSantis acknowledged this crisis privately, but hasn't addressed it publicly. One attendee reported the governor saying the shortened lawsuit window was necessary to prevent the legal system from collapsing, but it leaves recent buyers exposed to potentially catastrophic repair costs with limited legal recourse. Florida's inventory has exploded 375% since early 2022. The state now has 172,229 homes for sale as of early 2025, up 22.7% year over year. That's nearly 8 months of supply, levels not seen since 2006. This isn't banks dumping foreclosures like 2008. This is a calculated standoff between buyers and sellers. In August 2025, new listings were up 60% year over year, while active inventory grew at just 18%. Sellers are pulling listings off the market rather than accept lowball offers. Buyers have gone on strike, not because they can't afford homes, but because they've lost faith in the system. Median closed prices sit at $408,850 in the third quarter of 2025, down 0.55% from third quarter 2024. Quarter over quarter, prices dipped from $411,241 in second quarter 2025. Closings reached $58,610 in third quarter 2025, stable compared to third quarter 2024, but down 11.7% from second quarter 2025. It's not a crash, it's freezing. The leaked governor's notes show this freeze terrifies Tallahassee most because frozen markets don't generate transfer taxes, mortgage activity, or construction jobs. DeSantis reportedly told industry leaders that Florida is not facing a market correction, but a trust collapse. He admitted Florida's rapid growth wasn't managed properly. Infrastructure couldn't keep up, insurance reforms came too late, and building standards weren't enforced strictly enough during the boom. State economists are projecting Florida will lose an additional 100,000 to 150,000 domestic residents over the next 18 months if current trends continue. One attendee reported DeSantis saying if the insurance and HOA crisis aren't fixed in the next 12 months, Florida is looking at a decade-long recovery. The notes show he's genuinely panicking about what this means for tax revenue, local governments, and Florida's ability to compete with Texas, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. But here's what changes everything. DeSantis acknowledged privately that the structural fixes are already in motion. Insurance reforms passed in 2023 are working. 30 carriers have returned. Citizens' policies dropped 400,000, and litigation that drove the crisis is down 79%. HOA reserve requirements from Senate Bill 4D, while painful now, will prevent future Surfside-style collapses and stabilize condo markets long-term. Construction defect lawsuit reforms, though controversial, are allowing builders to stay solvent rather than face bankruptcy from endless litigation. Institutional investors have pulled back 90% from 2021 to 2022 levels, but leaked notes reveal that they're waiting to pounce when prices hit specific targets. Builders are converting subdivisions to rentals rather than slash prices, protecting price floors. Lenner's CEO admitted Florida buyers need more help than anywhere else, meaning they're losing money short-term to avoid crashing comparable sales. DeSantis' team projects market stabilization by late 2026 to early 2027, assuming no major hurricanes and continued insurance reforms. Sophisticated investors are watching specific signals. Inventory peaks, then drops for 3 consecutive months. Citizens Insurance continues dropping below 1 million policies. More carriers announce Florida re-entry. Institutional buyers quietly return. Migration numbers tick up, and construction lawsuits decline. Some signals are already flashing green. Citizens Insurance dropped from 1.4 million to under 1 million policies. Over 30 carriers returned since 2023. Barrier Island insurance rates dropped 25%. Inland areas seeing flat to 10% decreases. These improvements happen while the public panics based on 2023 headlines. Florida cycled through this after 2008. Those who bought when everyone said it was finished made generational wealth. The same setup is happening now. The leaked meeting notes show DeSantis and industry leaders understand this pattern. One attendee reported the governor saying Florida is always first to feel the pain and first to set up the next opportunity cycle. The people who understand what's happening aren't panicking. They're watching signals and preparing to move. The pattern is spreading nationally. Texas inventory surges. Arizona prices fall. The Carolinas show identical warning signs Florida showed 2 years ago. The leaked notes reveal DeSantis' team is monitoring whether Florida's experience becomes a national template or remains isolated. If insurance reforms work in Florida, other states will copy them. If migration stabilizes, it proves the fundamentals remain strong despite temporary pain. If you're holding Florida property, don't panic sell. Fundamentals are improving despite headlines. Insurance carriers are returning. Citizens' policies are declining. Some areas see rate decreases. HOA reforms prevent future crises, and construction lawsuit reforms stabilize builders. The leaked notes show even DeSantis' team, despite public panic, projects stabilization within 24 months. If you're buying, understand this isn't 2008. It's a buyer strike ending once insurance, HOAS, and construction quality get solved. They're being solved now quietly. The knowledge gap between what sophisticated investors know and what retail buyers believe creates the opportunity. Watch for inventory, peaking then dropping 3 consecutive months. Citizens' policies continuing below 1 million. More carrier announcements. Institutional buyers returning. Migration numbers ticking up. And construction lawsuits declining. The leaked meeting reveals Florida's crisis is a trust collapse, not a fundamental market failure. DeSantis admitted mismanagement during the boom, but the structural fixes are working. The next 12 to 18 months determine whether Florida enters a decade-long recovery or emerges stabilized for the next growth cycle. The biggest fortunes come when everyone else is paralyzed by fear. The opportunity is coming. Will you be ready when everyone else finally gets it? Drop a comment with your Florida market predictions and hit subscribe for the next deep dive into what's really happening behind the headlines.